Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot and a red state, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be about the Epstein files and specifically about the forced vote that Representative Thomas Massie and Democratic Representative Ro Khanna are trying to force through. And it seems like it's really being led by Thomas Massie, a Republican. And now remember, way back in the beginning of when this whole nightmare started back in the spring, I kept getting it was going to be the moderate Republicans that would come together with the Democrats and put an end to this administration. Okay, well now here we are, and we have moderate Republicans coming together with Democrats, and if they force these Epstein files to come out, that's kind of what I want to look at today. I want to look at, are they going to have the votes, which it looks like they do. Trump's out there, trying to whip votes to not release them. But I think they have all the Democrats. They only need 218 for that vote to be forced. And there was 11 Republicans that had signed on to the legislation. So if those 11 stay, or at least just 5 of them, they just need 5 to stay, then this will come for a vote, and they will have to release those files. And I think unredacted, except for maybe the victims' names. But knowing this administration, we know that it would probably, oopsies, the delay tactics of, we didn't redact the right names. We didn't do that. That's kind of what I'm expected to come up, but I'm going to do the reading and see I want to know, do they have the votes? Is it going to, are they going to force the DOJ's hand? And then I want to look at, if that comes up, yes, then I want to look at what is the DOJ going to do, okay? As always, this is for entertainment purposes only, and I'm looking into, the first thing that I want to look into is the House of Representatives, and is this going to be do they have the votes? Are they going to force the DOJ's hand into releasing these files? Okay. For the Epstein files in the House of Representatives. What is that vote looking like? Okay, one more. Okay, and as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Is that going to have, that's going to, here, let me scooch over just a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to keep the glare off for you guys the best I can. So these are agreements. These are agreements between the two, I think between Democrats and Republicans, or at least those moderate Republicans. Okay. Also, I'm using my Robinwood deck today. I'm just really, I really like this deck, and I just really feel like I've been in tune with a lot of the symbology on it. So I want to, you're probably going to be seeing the Robinwood deck a bit more. Okay. It's also not out of print, so I could replace this one whenever I wear it out. Page of Cups. And in the September energy reading, I got that this is the victims. Okay. These are, and the challenge to this is getting those files. I'm going to see this kind of as the files, since it's coming up in the challenge position here. So yeah, what happened to these when they were children, and those files. So that's the challenge of them getting this. So let's see how that challenge turns out. The Judgment card, rising out of the ashes. I love, love, love the Judgment card in this deck. Okay, because it's reinventing yourself. It's rising out of the ashes. That Judgment card, you've got, the wings here, the angel. So I always see that the truth shall set you free. That's, except for in this case, there's a lot of people that are not going to be set free, but they will face judgment. Okay, I think the truth that sets us free, I feel like that's more for the victims. Like they finally get their day of judgment when those files are released. Okay. The foundation of this energy is the Moon card. They've tried keeping this hidden, and by they, Trump and ilk. Okay. trying to keep things hidden. And once again, you have the two here, the two sides of the Democrats and the Republicans, or moderate Republicans, and they want the same thing. They may have different tactics, but they want the same thing. Okay. This is going to be the recent events that we've had, and this is new beginnings, nothing to see here, move it all along, distraction. That's what I'm feeling with this, especially with the way it's coming up here. It's like, look at other things, look somewhere else, don't look at at all this other stuff that we're doing. We want the news cycle to change, which they've tried that. I mean, they even had that health event to try to change the news cycle, and it came right back to the Epstein files. Okay, those Epstein files are not going anywhere except for in the public domain. And the star card, I want to set with this one just for a minute. Hopes, wishes, dreams. Let's see, the water bearer, a lot of emotions, wishes. Let me do just a little bit on, because that's all the higher energy. The lower energy can be the lies that we tell, that we pass off as truth. It is also can be our country. The star card, who are we as a country? Okay. So let me more on the star card. Okay. Yeah, emotions. This is the path that they have sought. This is the wish of the victims for this to be released. And I find that interesting that that's coming up, because I almost get this feeling like if they were not so determined, that I was like forceful. It's like, no, they're not forceful, determined that for these files to come out. It's like the DOJ would be like, oh, we're protecting the victims. It's like hell you are. No, you're protecting your own asses. So release the files. And that the victims are not allowing themselves to be the excuse for the files not being released. That's what I'm feeling with this. They want those stories their story to come out. They want their experience, what they experienced at the hands of Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein to come out. Okay. This is like seeking the Hermit card, seeking the righteous path. And also in this deck, I love this card in this deck, and it's for these little red shoes. And that is, I'm feeling like the courage that they have. Ooh, I'm getting a little verklempt here. And yeah, what happened to us as children? Man, whew. This is a lot of energy coming through, and I'm feeling like I'm going to look into Nancy Mace, because if you guys have seen that video of Nancy Mace, just like, that's what I'm feeling like. Whatever is in their stories. And okay, so it's going to be another one of those readings. Okay, so when I feel energy, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, and this is just kind of how I feel, and this is how my body processes it. It's a really weird thing, because it's like, these aren't like, this isn't my energy, and it isn't like my tears necessarily, but it's like the energy and like what I'm feeling like with that, if that makes any sense. And so I guess what I'm saying is, let this be your forewarning that this testimony, when this stuff comes out, is going to be horrendous. Okay. For me to be feeling that, and for this to like instantly tap into whatever it was that Nancy Mace heard, saw, whatever that was, and you saw her, like, I'm feeling that, like, because it was like, is she upset because Dear Leader's going? And I'm like, I am not a Nancy Mace fan. I am not a fan of any of those maggots whatsoever. But what I'm feeling from her in this moment right now is this is going to be what pulls that. This is what is going to pull the blindfold off of the MAGA right here. Because if it got to Nancy Mace like that, I'm just telling you, this is huge. This is big. This is, I can't even, there's not even words. Okay. All there is like tears. Okay. That's what I'm feeling with this. So, yeah, this is not, sorry, I'm just trying to, let me give me just a moment to gather kind of my thoughts. Cause whenever that energy comes over me like that, it's like, whoo, it kind of sends me for a loop a little bit. Okay. So, yes, they have the votes. And I think that it's almost like this feeling of more than just the moderate Republicans, because Nancy Mace is not, she's not a moderate in any sense of the word. And so for her to have that kind of, reaction, that's what I'm feeling, is like there could be more than the 218 after the victims have their talks. So let me just ask, will they, yes or no, will they have the 218 votes? Okay, and with 200, this comes to an end. The good news that comes out of this, I'm going to do more cards on that. I just want to make sure, and for the world to see. I think that they do have the votes. It's like this puts an end to Trump. Is this like this? I want more clarity on the 10 of Swords. I want to know, who does this bring an end to? Like, do they have the votes? They're lying, like under the dark of night. The Strength card, though, this is going to be, yeah, they have the votes, and it puts, and honestly, would we be surprised if Trump doesn't try fleeing? I mean, seriously, this is like fleeing under the dark of night, trying to, you've stolen everything you can steal from the circus here, so it's time to skip town. That's what I'm feeling here. Okay. With this, that I've always read this as controlling the orange beast, coming from a place of strength. And this has always been the American people. And, when I do the readings, I've always felt that it's always going to be the people over, the people win. It's the people who are in a position of strength. And then the happiness. This is the happy couple under the wedding canopy. And so this is a happiness card. So yeah, and then you've got this looking out into the world. Wands are messaging. This is going to be for the world to hear, and it's because the two sides have come together, and they're like, so yeah, I think that they do have the votes. Absolutely. Okay. And I just want, I'm a little bit better. I'm a little bit better put together now. And I just kind of want to clarify, when I get that energy, and like, it's weird because I don't want you to think that I'm not upset about what happened to the victims, because it's horrible and it's horrendous. In that moment, though, that wasn't my energy that I was feeling. It was the energy of this situation and what they went through. And it was like all of it together. And it's like, all I saw was Nancy Mace sitting there listening to all of this. And so it was more, so I was reacting. It was more like I was seeing it through her eyes. And so that was her energy, which was really bizarre, because it's not exactly what I would think of when I'm thinking of Nancy Mace, so it's not, so when I say I was upset and that wasn't my energy, that's kind of what I meant by that. I mean, I think that if there is a dry eye left after we find out what happened, I would be shocked. Okay. So that's why I kind of want to give you guys that. It's like, whoa, what we're getting ready to face is, I mean, it's, if these files get released, everything here is showing that they will be released, or that the House of Representatives will force that issue. And I'm going to do that next. Will the DOJ abide by that? Because they don't exactly, like the Constitution and the law there whenever they have to follow it. But if all of that happens, oh man. If what I felt was just a glimpse, we're in for quite the legal and emotional ride here. I mean, so what will the DOJ do? when this vote gets when it passes, I guess, when they vote on it to release it, when that passes, what will the DOJ do? Okay, and the DOJ, they don't want, they absolutely do not want to release this. And it's like, what I'm seeing here, I just love the first of all, I love the imagery of these cards. This is very similar to what it is in the Rider-Waite deck. What I'm feeling here is like, this is the DOJ standing outside of the safety of what, they've their version of what they see as safety, inside the church, or building, whatever this building is. But now they've been thrown out on the streets, and it's like, no, you actually have to follow the law. You don't get to hide behind this facade. That's what I'm feeling with that. Okay, that they're out there on full display, having to justify why they're not releasing it. Okay. And it's like, because Biden, because Obama, because Clinton, because this, because that. I mean, it's going to be everything under the sun. It's like, just say it. It's because Trump's in the files. Okay. And so what else? The challenge is the government. They have been told by a co-equal branch of government that they have to do this. And so the challenge is that they don't want to, but they're going to have to. I also think this is a challenge. I mean, this really rocks our government. And it's not the institutions. I feel like it's not just the United States. From what I understand is the talk is that whenever these files are released, it doesn't implicate just those governmental officials and wealthy, whatever businessmen and probably women in the United States, but this is a worldwide thing. Okay, a worldwide child sex trafficking network. That's what I'm feeling with this. And what was stolen from them as children, which I got that in the September energy reading. That's why I said that. What was stolen from them as children. This is the energy coming in. And also what's rich, the other feeling I get is like the Republicans are, they're like, oh, we're the party for all about families. It's like, the fuck you are. No, you're not. More lies. But they try to have that perception. And it's like, nope, that perception is quickly being tarnished. Battle weary. Now, remember, this is coming from the DOJ's point of view, and the root of this, the foundation of this. So the energy that they're coming from is they are battle weary. They do not want these files to be released. They have every excuse in the world. And remember, whenever I set up here, they're going to have every excuse in the world for why they can't do that. That's what this is. And they're quickly running out. The 9 here is the 10 is the completion, and the 10 is also is the burden card. Remember, it's the person that's got the bundle of sticks on their back. I think in this one of these decks, it's like they're trying to carry this large load, and so it's like it's too much. It's too much of a burden, and they're running out of excuses with this being. I'm playing on that 9. Okay, 9 means that these are all the excuses. They really don't have any more excuses at all, and legally they're going to have to release what they have whenever the House passes that resolution, legislation, whatever it is that's called that they do. The Magician, how can we spin this? How can we create the illusion? Which that's what they've done. And these are the recent events is, well, we released files. It's like, no, you didn't. You released publicly available information, and Ghislaine Maxwell sitting there lying her ass off so she could stay in her nice little cushy, prison there. That was, and did she get work release? I mean, it's like, no. You created the illusion of actually doing something. You did not. Okay. So that's, DOJ's not happy. So now it's like the potential card, the outcome card. If it's the Tower card, I'm going to laugh. It is not. It's people rejoicing. And I think that this is, they release the files. They have to. I'm going to put more, because this is like, we get them. I want to do more cards on this, because this feels more like the aftermath of them being released. So let me do who's rejoicing and who's happy here with this. Something being given, something finally being, this is having, the actual meaning of this card is having enough to share with others. The other thing is, the lower energy is the oligarchs, handing out pennies to the people. So this is a card of giving. Now, what are you giving? It depends on higher energy or lower energy. So I'm wondering, like, they're going to dole it out maybe a little at a time. But the files are going to be released. Be patient. And I just said they're doling them out. Okay. And in this deck, I read it once where it's like there was 2, but there's actually 3 things here. Where's that third? There's like a third. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see. So juggling the 3 things: temperance, be patient, 1 foot's in like the water, which represents like what you want, and then and then standing on solid ground is like the physical, like this is what you want, this is what you manifested. Juggling everything, be patient, and then the angel here is almost like divine intervention is kind of what I'm feeling with that. So, it's like, be patient. I'm like, how much we've been patient. Like, Tarot, do not tell me to be patient, okay? And yeah, they're going to half-ass release the files. And in this deck, do you see, this is the Page of Swords. And I always say this is a card of pretending. This is a card of pretending, because look at this. Is this somebody who's racing off into battle, prepared to fight with the sword? No, they're like, look at this. It's so bright and shiny. So they're going to be releasing some bright, shiny objects. They're going to be pretending like they've released stuff and they haven't. It's just delay. That's what delay tactics. That's what this is. So what enforcement do they have? What's the enforcement look like of forcing them to release this? What does the enforcement look like? Oh, there's just so much. I mean, it's like every damn excuse in the world. This card is also very similar. It can be very similar, especially in the lower energy, to the Magician card, because this is illusions, delusions. What is, notice that this is kind of coming, looks like it's part of her hair, like part of a dream state. Like we might do it. We just don't know. We'll release little pieces of it. And in this card, I said it's the illusions. They're creating the illusion of actually doing something, which that's what they did with what they released earlier. So as far as forcing this, like what are the repercussions? They're not. I mean, because they know it will end them. They know it will end them. Will the files, which I've always thought that the files will come out some other way, will these files be released? And I'm going to say in their entirety, with the caveat of the victims, names like redacted, like those are the only redactions, not like, all of the people who perpetrated the abuse. I could see them trying to do that. Oh, I'm sorry, we've redacted the wrong thing. So will these come out in some other way? Messages, waiting, agreements, a woman, taking care of things, agreements at fruition, and the wealthy woman. I wonder if there's not somebody else. Because I'm not feeling like, I always felt like Ghislaine Maxwell would be the one to like confirm it after the fact. Just because she's like, she wants out of jail, so she'll say anything to anyone. Okay, so with what I'm getting with this today is that, yes, the House of Representatives has the votes, okay? That means that is supposed to release the files. However, what I'm getting is that the DOJ, they are doubling down. They are not going to do this. They are just like, no, and they have every excuse in the world, the illusion of doing this, doling. If I can pick this card up, doling things out just a little bit at a time, be patient. And then this is why I'm saying they're not releasing them. They have no intention of releasing those files. And I've never felt like the files were going to be released by the government. So I would love to be wrong. I mean, this is one of those, it's like, please be wrong. Please, just pass that, whatever legislation, resolution thing, whatever that's called, to release these, and that they do it. I just don't see them doing it. I see every other excuse, reason in the world. What I got, it was the Dan Bongino reading. And I will link that at the end of this one. And what I got in that was that he was the one actually that could potentially be the one to release it, because he's just so sick and tired of the cover-up. Because remember, he was the podcaster, and that was his deal. That was, he wanted those files released. He has seen the files. He knows what's in the files. He knows what's being covered up. I wonder if it isn't going to come from him, because he's in... I'm going to ask that. I need to look something up real quick. Hold on just one moment. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to talk with my husband about something real quick, because it was like something that came to me in this reading. I was like, wait a minute. I wanted to touch base with him on that. So the FBI is an arm of the DOJ, and Dan Bongino wants these files released. So I'm wondering, and I did that other reading that got that, yeah, he's going to be like, he very well could be the one to release that. So, and that would be in compliance with what Congress did. Oh my gosh. The other thing is, whenever I had paused it, I went and got my wedding ring. I didn't want you guys to think there's nothing wrong. Sometimes I don't always wear my ring, because I just don't like getting it dirty and like gunked up and stuff. So anyway, so I went to go get that just so that you guys would be like, she's, everything is fine here. I just, sometimes don't think about that. Okay. So, Dan Bongino, let's circle back around to that. And then I realize this reading's getting a little long. So, I will wrap it up with this. Is Dan Bongino, and I'll just do, I'll do 6 cards on that. Is Dan Bongino going to be the one that actually releases these files? And with that, he is tired of, he's tired of what he's seeing, of what he's hearing, and of the cover-up. And I think that he wants to be seen kind of like as the hero. That's the feeling I'm getting here with this and the files and what happened, and that he is just absolutely horrified that Trump is in him. Huh. I know, win and Tarot, but what can we look for? One final message about these Epstein files, and what can we expect? Just one last final message of what can we expect with these files. Government, it doesn't want to release it. They want this thing they do not want, but they're going to come out. New beginnings for our country, and that we finally get the truth. And the reason I'm reading this stuff in the higher energy is that it just feels like the higher energy, like something of substance, something of value being offered, new beginnings. And also you look at these are the, this is the new beginning, the new path, and then having everything that you need for that path. And if you notice, you've got, the 4 suits are right here. And what came up was, this is one of the pieces that you need for our new path, is for these files to come out. And for the new path that we're creating in this country. And that's what that is. Huh. That was, I like that. That was really nice. If you're wondering, this is a spread that I have used just real quick, I know this is running long. This just 6 card spread like this. I just really like this. This just is a nice flow story. It's not like past, present, future. It's just like looking into a situation. What do we need to know? And I just like that. That spread right there. So I'll start mixing in. I'm going to start mixing in some new spreads and various spreads that, that I have used. So, sorry, side quest. With this, that was quite interesting. That was a really interesting reading. I'm going to have to kind of sit with that for a minute and kind of think about that. But just to recap, what came up is, yes, it's going to pass in the House. They've got the votes to do that. The second thing is that the DOJ is not going to comply. I mean, did we expect them to? No. And they may dole out some stuff. They're going to have every excuse in the world. And it's Dan Bongino that actually, or very well, could be the one that finally, releases these. And what I'm seeing is, I get this glimpse of, and I really think it was Dianne Feinstein that did this. This was during the first Trump era, maybe. I don't even know what it was. I don't even know what it was about, but it was like some committee did something and they were like, we're not going to release the whatever. And they were going back and forth on, whether to release it or not. And Dianne Feinstein was just like, I've had it. And she just released it. She's like, I just did it. And like, she was old. I mean, she's got so much seniority. Everybody was just like, couldn't believe she actually did it. And that's the feeling I'm getting, is like, that's what Dan's going to do. Okay, well, this is something that I will absolutely keep following. That was that was wild. Yeah, I will follow this and we will see what happens. I'm feeling like this reading actually needs to come out sooner rather than later. So you have probably seen the September Energy Part 1. I'm going to put this in instead, and then I'm going to bump the energy reading to tomorrow. Okay, you'll get that second part tomorrow, but that's okay. It's all the second part of September, so there wasn't too much of a time thing on that one. But I feel like this one is more of a time sensitive one. So yeah, and I'll put that other. I never can remember when I'm looking in here where the readings are, but I will post stuff. The Dan Bongino, and subscribe, like, all that great stuff. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.